Hello everyone, welcome back as always to the best community ever, the Wolfpack. So good to see you all. Today we're doing a 5 list, not top 5, just a random 5 list of 5 compact, travel-friendly solo games that you can play. And these are all games that I enjoy too. This idea also comes from Max, so huge thank you to Max. This video is for you. Stick with me to the end because I'm gonna ask the most difficult question as always, because if I had to pick one of these games, which one would it be for my favorite of today? Starting off first with 20 Strong Tanglewoods Red. Now, if you're unfamiliar, 20 Strong actually has a whole plethora of different game systems, but the one that we're looking at today is Tanglewoods Red, which is all about like classic Fable characters that we all know and love. And the reason why it's called 20 Strong is because there are 20 dice. Now, I really love this game, and you get so much game in such a tiny little deck box. Here's how the game works. It's time to roll my sleeves so we can get some serious action going on. The whole point of this game is to travel through the forest, through 10 different forest areas, get to the very end to Grandma's cabin and fight the one and only Big Bad Wolf. Very, very fitting. I'll be honest, I never reached him yet because I get destroyed by his friggin' gang members before that. So to get there, what you're gonna do first is explore. Now this is optional, but you can take 3 dice, you can take some blue ones and some yellow ones, and you're gonna commit these dice, roll them, and then for any hits that you get, you can reveal a brand new map tile. This is a basic hit, so I get to reveal 1 brand new map tile. And this one is a critical hit, which means I can gain a brand new map tile and gold. So I can reveal 2 more tiles. This is how you track gold, and you can never gain more than 20 gold, so I'm actually maxed out as it is. And then right away, we get to the fun part, because now we can go to the merchant and start upgrading our gear and buying new stuff. So since I rolled 3 dice, I can reveal 3 new sets of armor. So here's some ones that I got from my last play session. In order to buy it, you look at the cost listed on the bottom right. So the birch bark, for instance, which is a really good one. This one says, if your health will be reduced to 0, set it to 1 instead. So I can buy this one for 3 gold. And the merch is really cool because you have a whole range of things you can do. These are my active pool of dice. I can also gain some dice from my exhausted pool, which means my combat gets better. And I can even recover some banished dice, which adds to my overall dice pool in general, because technically these are removed from the game, but the only way to get them back is through the merchant. And then lastly, even after I buy my gear, I can then pay the merchant to forge and upgrade this gear to the more powerful side. For instance, this basic cloak can be upgraded to the rainbow cloak. So now when I roll dice later on, I can set 1 miss to an immediate crit. That's really powerful. Now, I skipped a little ahead here because I got too excited, but I also wanted to mention that you have 5 different characters you can choose from. Little Red, Bo Peep, Pete Piper, Puss in Boots, and also Maya too. And then what's important here to note is that the bottom left will tell you how much health they have. If your health ever drops to 0, you lose. The middle is your strategy, which means that this is how many times you can re-roll during combat, and also how many enemies will show up each time in this roll over here. And the bottom right is the recovery, so how much dice you get back during combat. So what I did so far was I explored the map. I then went to the merchant and got some gear, upgraded it. Maybe I spent some more gold to gain some banished dice. And the dice shown here are ranked from strongest to weakest. So the red die is actually the strongest, with the yellow being the weakest. From there, I can now travel across the map, and this part is so much like Slay the Spire. So if you like those dungeon crawlers, you're gonna love a game like this. So now I can go towards one of these 3 nodes, and if I go forward, I can then fight 1 enemy. Now the enemies also have like different shapes around them, like a circle, a square. Each of them means something different. You might have some conditions that weaken you. You might have some conditions that give you extra benefits. And then that enemy pops up, and here's how combat works. So first, you're going to commit dice. Now, this enemy has a health of 3. It also has a damage stat of 1, which means that if I don't kill it on the first turn, it's gonna deal me 1 damage. That's a big deal because Little Red only has 2 health. I need to make sure I do not take any damage because I need to survive to the very end. And then lastly, you don't have to fight enemies. If you have enough gold, you could also spend 4 gold to bribe them. That way they go away. But the downside is you do not gain the reward if you do bribe them. So if I were to defeat Brian, I would also gain 4 gold if I were to fight it straight up in battle. Now each enemy also has different abilities too. Like Brian says, purple dice can't be rolled, committed, or used for effects. So in this case, I need to defeat it with some dice over here. So let's say I go with 2 blue dice. I can't use purple. Let's just go straight up with the strongest dice. So that's a guarantee hit. And we'll do 1 more green. So then I roll, and nice, this is actually a really solid roll. If I didn't get this, and let's say I got a miss in one of these dice instead, I can repeat this step because my strategy dice says I can do this phase 3 times. So I can commit more dice and then re-roll, keep whatever I want, kind of like Dice Throne. So here I deal 3 damage, this enemy's defeated, and then I gain 4 gold. So on these forest cards, you flip them over, there's a purple side, which is the nighttime side. This means that enemies are a little bit stronger than usual. Sometimes a lot. One of the meatiest dungeon crawler experiences in such a compact package. 20 strong, Tanglewood's Red is so freaking good. Like there's so much going on here. I think it's the most complex game out of all the games I'm gonna show you today, but there's so much story here. I love the upgrades. I love how drastic your decisions are. Combat is fun. It doesn't take up that much space. Like I wouldn't be able to play it on a plane, but a small little coffee table would be easy because then I can just condense these cards a little more. So that is Tanglewood's Red. Let's move on to number 2. Number 2, the smallest and also the lightest game on today's list, but don't let that fool you because there is a good amount of puzzle in this one. Number 2 is called Grove. And the goal in this game is to build up your orchard as much as you can because the more fruits that you have in your orchard, the more points you score and the higher you rank. On your turn, you're gonna play a card and you can put in any kind of orientation you like. But the goal here is to score as many fruits as possible by comboing it on top of fruits that are already there. So if I were to put this 1 orange on these 2 oranges, then the next step is to take one of your orange dice and then you add them up. So 2 plus 1, and I would have a total of 3 fruit right here. And then you draw a card and you continue. Now the rule is you always have to make sure that there's 1 point of contact in each card that you place. Now notice here how there's an empty clearing called a glade. If I were to put this on top of the lemons, then this one would score no fruits, but instead I would gain 3 orange and 2 green. And then I draw a card and then repeat. Let's say I really wanted to place this card, but there's a lime underneath. You can place this card, gain the fruit that did match, and then the squirrel would come in and eat this fruit, so you can no longer place trees here, but in exchange, you're able and allowed to place the orange fruit over here. And then lastly, once your fruit gets beyond 6, they actually become a bunch of fruits, which is a plentiful harvest, and this counts as 10 points. And then if you pass 10, you can even gain a wheelbarrow for very, very plentiful fruit, hitting 15 points. Once you play 9 cards, since it's a 9-card solitaire, then the game's over and you count your points to see how you score. This is a great game if you're looking for something simple, very thinky, if you want something extremely compact because look at how small the footprint is. The stakes are super chill, so if you want something calming and relaxing, something to just get your mind off of whatever, then this would be a solid choice. Grove. Now if you want some more combos in your life, number 3, Flip Tunes. I love this game, especially competitively, but it still plays really well solo. Shuffle your cards and then reveal 1 tune at a time. Bam! I have here a caterpillar. The worst card in the game, but this is what you start with. Caterpillar, 0 fame, does nothing for you. Moving on, we get a bee. Now we're talking. So now we get 1 fame. Next one, another caterpillar. We're creating a grid of 3 by 2, so this one goes on the next row. Caterpillar, a snail, now we get 2 fame, so that's 3 fame total. And lastly, we have a dragonfly. This one says, for each unique adjacent card, gain 1 fame each. So now because I have a caterpillar and a snail, I now have 2 fame. So total I have 2 plus 2, it's 4, plus the B, that's 5 fame. What was your goal here? Oh, that's right, fire your squad to get better people. That sounds really bad actually. Now what you're gonna do is hire a tune from the market or dismiss a tune for 5 fame. The caterpillars though, in this case, their ability says it only costs 3 fame to dismiss. Now as you can guess, this is a deck building game. I have 5 fame to spend and I'm looking here at everyone's unique abilities. The goat says you'll gain 3 fame if it's in the upper row. So I'll grab a goat for 4 fame, which is the cost listed there. I got 1 left over, but I have nothing else to spend. So from there, you take your cards back. And in solo mode, the card on the very left and on the very right get discarded. And then you draw more cards to fill up all the empty spaces that you have remaining. It's fun because there's a lot of risk. For instance, the snake says dismiss the top card of your deck and stack the top card from the tune deck on top of this card. So if I were to reveal a snake over here, I get rid of this top card, which in this case, super lucky, it's a caterpillar, not a big deal. This one gets removed from the game and then I can add a top card from my deck. Imagine if I pull a card, bam, and this is a deer, which is a very high ranked card. Early game, this is wild because if this deer was on top of the snake, now I get 3 fame +5 if each face-up card in your grid is unique. So that's 8 fame to work with. Now I can buy higher ranked cards early on. So yeah, if you like combos, if you like deck building, if you like that nostalgic theme of having, 90s, 80s cartoons, you're gonna love Fliptoons. Number 4 today, one with a very, very shiny cover. Now this is a bit long, but still, I think it's pretty child friendly. This is Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, the trick-taking game. Quite a mouthful. Now to avoid spoilers, I'm only gonna show you stuff from chapter 1. So this one is a solo trick-taking game with a Lord of the Rings theme. I don't even know, like if that doesn't sell you enough already, I don't know what would. Now we did film the lifestyle commercial for this game, but I bought myself this very copy right afterwards because I just could not stop thinking about this game. And I made it all the way to chapter 8 out of 12. So I made it pretty far and I'm kind of just rerunning it. Now this is sort of a campaign game because each chapter is different. For instance, chapter 1 says you start off with these 4 characters, the ones that you know and love: Frodo, Pippin, Gandalf, and Bilbo. And the victory condition is to make sure that you finish all chosen characters. So each character has their own specific goal. Frodo, for instance, says he needs to win 2 or more ring cards. Gandalf says he needs to win 1 or more tricks. Pippin says he needs to win the fewest amount of tricks, and Bilbo needs to win 3 or more tricks. So as solo, you're gonna control all these characters. So with Frodo, let's say, okay, I need to win some ring cards. Oh look, Pippin has a ring here. So in order for me to win this ring, I need to play a suit that he doesn't have. And so I'm looking around and it looks like, oh, okay, Hill may be the best card because Bilbo has no hills, Pippin has no hills. Gandalf does have 2 hills because if he only had this number 8, he would have to play this number 8. But luckily, he does have a number 3 as well. So I can play this hill card as the lead suit from Frodo. And then I go to the next character. Pippin has no hill cards. So then, because of that, he can play the ring card. And now this gets activated because now that means that on your next turn, people can lead off with the rings cards. So to make it simple, you lead with a card, and then everyone else has to follow with that suit. They must play that suit, and if they can't play that suit, then they can play any other card, including a ring. And you can only lead with ring cards if this ring token has been activated. Once every character has met their condition, then boom, chapter 1 is complete. It's funny because when I first started playing this game, I'm like, solo trick taking and I'm controlling the hands, it's kind of lame because then I play on a card, I can choose any kind of card I want, but it's actually a really fun puzzle. Just because you can control everyone's hands, it doesn't mean it's an auto win because you still have to think about the suit, you still got to think about the rings, you still got to think about the individual conditions, and it starts off easy, but trust me, as you add on different story elements later on, it becomes way more complex and a lot more difficult to reach. Plus, that's what I love about it, because every time you complete a chapter, you unlock new content. And there's even really fun details here. Like here it says part 1, no admittance except on party business, which is of course, if you're familiar with Lord of the Rings, you know that that's what's on Bilbo's signpost on the outside. And then you get to open this and unlock new content as you move on to the different parts of the game. If you love Lord of the Rings, if you love unlockable content and this story-driven trick-taking element to it, you're gonna love this game. Now that brings us to the final game on today's list, Kinfire Delve. Now specifically, this is Cal's Lab because there's 2 others. I want to buy the entire set now along with all the upgrades because that's how much I have gone to enjoy this game. At the same time, this game has made me raged the hardest out of all 5. Let me tell you why. Okay, in Kinfire Delve, your goal is to delve all the way to the bottom of the well in order to reach Callus and defeat Callus in the very end. And unlike many other games where you kind of build up your character over time, not this one. You are starting off with pretty much a max level character. You have your entire toolkit with you. But the goal here is to survive to the very end with your starting toolkit. So your reward is not unlocking new gear because you got everything you need, but your reward is to get one step closer to Callus. Now, aside from these cards being beautiful holofoil, there are 2 different characters you can choose from in this game. There's an archer class and one sort of like more of a brute. So what you do is you're gonna read through all of the different challenges laid out here. And the reason why is because some challenges will affect the entire game. For instance, this Guardian says, progress cannot be added to any non-Guardian challenge. So this Guardian is a tank. I have to kill this Guardian first before even attempting everything else. And then this card is a failed experiment. On the bottom, it says, each time another challenge is discarded, suffer 2 damage. I have a total starting of 10 health. So either way, I have to deal with this Guardian, but I'm gonna have to take 2 damage from this failed experiment. So then, now that I've picked a target, I'm gonna look at the top left of this card and it says 8. That means I need to deal 8 damage on my turn, or else this skull symbol, it's kind of like shattered shield, says I'm gonna take 1 damage if I can't destroy the Guardian in 1 hit. Now here's where the game just goes off because it's all about the card play. Since this Guardian is blue, I can only play blue cards, but I do have a bow in my hand, which is gonna deal extra damage for any kind of archery cards that I play. And then there are hybrid cards that count for multiple colors, like this one, Noble Education, is a really good one. After this action, I can either draw a card or move up to 2 progress from any card to a challenge. So I'm gonna start off playing this action, and this one's gonna deal 3 damage by itself. Since this card has no color, it can actually count as any color. So this one's gonna give me a boost showing on the very bottom as +3, which is wild. And you ignore all effects except for just the number. So that's 3, that's 6, and then I can boost with this blue card, which is another +1, but plus my bow, that's another 1 on top of that, so I kind of overkill this card. So that's 3, 6, 7. Now I probably didn't need to add in that card because I actually will roll these dice afterwards. And if I rolled any color that matches my challenge, which in this case is blue, then it would give 1 extra damage. So because I rolled a blue, it would deal a total of 10 damage. This Guardian has been defeated. And if you look here on the left side, it says my trophy, my reward is 5. Now that means I can discard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards from the well, reveal another one, and now I am 1 big step closer to Callus. Once you get to the final boss, all these challenges are going to get removed, and then his elites get spawned in. And then also, you notice here how all these cards that I use on my turn, they're going to get discarded. And now I don't get to draw cards at all. That's where this game's also different because instead of on your turn you draw brand new cards, you keep exactly what you have. And instead, once you run out of cards, you actually will have to exhaust. So you're gonna gain a penalty and then draw back up to 8. In this case, it says I suffer 1 damage at the end of every one of my turns, or I remove progress from Callus because Callus will actually have some starting progress. I think it's 8, 3, 6, 7, 8. Once all of these are removed, then you also will lose as well. So either you die or progress from Callus has been removed before you even get there. So according to this here, seeking a cure, place 10 progress on Callus, and then if it's removed from him before you reach the bottom of the well, you lose the game. So that's the second way you lose. Either you die, your health goes down to 0, or his progress gets down to 0 before you reach him. The reason why this game made me rage so freaking much was, I kid you not, okay? I kid you not. I got to the final fight, I destroyed 3 of his elites, and I don't want to spoil like the abilities and everything and what happens to him, but I was down to 1 single health left. He was this close to dying, and all I had left, I had no cards left. All I had left were the dice, and I'm like, all I need is 1 single red die. And I didn't get it. I was like, no, I was so close. I don't mind not having dice mitigation because honestly, you get to focus more on your strategy here. The dice are just more so as a bonus. Obviously, I raged, but it made me love the game even more because of how tense that fight was. And that's why I want to just get everything in this entire set later on. Now, we talked about a lot of fun games today, but as promised, if I had to pick only one to play right now, it's a tough one. I want that rematch in Kinfire Delve. I'm annoyed that I haven't reached the big bad wolf in Tanglewoods Red. I popped open the Grove when it's just like a work day and I didn't want to think at all. Fliptoons is really fun for the combos, but I loved unlocking story content from Lord of the Rings just because I want a rematch on Callus's lab. And there are also, it's not just one boss, but there's also multiple versions of Callus. So like I want that rematch, and having the card play here reminded me a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh because all these cards interact together a ton and I love that. So yeah, if I had to pick one, even though they're super close, it probably would be Kinfire Delve. But again, I wouldn't be making this list unless all these games are good. So with that said, I hope we all enjoyed today's list. Let me know which one of these 5 you would pick up for a child-friendly compact solo game. And with that said, if you made it to the very end, go ahead and comment rematch, because that's what I want right now. I want a rematch with Callus because it's not over, okay? 1 health, I'm not even joking. 1 health versus 1 health. What are the chances of that happening? 1 die. Thank you all so much for watching. Max, thank you again for today's idea suggestion, and I will see you all in the next one.